Okay. And now let's start the podcast. I think this is going to be a winner. See, I just changed to gain 30 and I'm going back to 5 seconds. Let's see what happens. Let's 2 seconds. 1 second. 1 second, gain 30.
The telescope is slewing.
Let's check focus. It's not completely, not even close to be focused. Let's go back to Orion.
The telescope is slewing.
Let's go to dark. Let's see if I can find a dark. Import a dark. Desktop. Oh, I'm in. Oh, fuck. That's why. There it is. God, a lot of people waiting for me. Mike Miller, Didicki, Perry. This is a 1 second exposure, I think. 1 second exposure, gain 30 out of 150. Digital binning 2. I didn't hear the pop. Testing, testing. Okay, Mike. I wasn't hearing the pops here on this end. That's why I was checking. Like I said, this is the first time trying out this scope with the focal reducer and this camera. And I got a lot of assistance from the William Optics owners group today on how to properly configure the focal reducer and how to space it and get it working. It looks like I have pretty good star correction all the way to the corners. I'm going to change this to a 2 second exposure. Let's see what happens. I'm going to start setting up to capture some images too. Options, preferences, auto capture. How about every 30 seconds? And save it to the desktop. Okay, there goes a satellite. And I'm going to start auto capturing. Let me try to do a white balance. It's not totally dark yet. What does Sky Tools say? How about tonight? Completely dark from 8:31 to 9:53. So we got another almost 30 minutes of twilight. Evening, Bob. The field of view with the 91mm and the 24 CTEC is actually slightly larger than the field of view with the 61mm and the DS26. So we'll do another white balance. Okay. I have a dark field applied. I have a flat applied. And I am not live stacking yet. This is without live stacking. Now I'm going to engage the live stacking. Hi, Matt. I do have the cooler on. Right now it is 65 degrees in here. It's supposed to get down to about 46 tonight. Just first opinion, I'm really liking this satellite scope. See the satellite coming in at 3 o'clock? Or is it? That's unique. That's the motion of the satellite every 2 seconds? Looks like a dashed line in the sky. Let me zoom in and look at the corners. I might have to do a little tweaking on the spacing on the focal reducer, but it's really not that bad. It's the bottom corner. Bottom right might be a little elongated. Top right. Oh, there's a couple of satellite trains. One right above the other. Good question. Don't know. This camera's more sensitive than I thought. If I'm at 30 out of 150, so that's 20% gain and a 2-second exposure. Let me stop and go to 4 seconds. Oh, look at that satellite trail again. You can see the dash has got a little bit longer when I went from 2 seconds to 4 seconds. There's the other trail above it. Not too bad for 4 seconds. Well, it's actually a stack of 1, 2, and 4 second exposures. And I'm trying to remember how long my dark was. just threw a 5-second dark in. Let's go look for something else now. Let's stop the live stacking. This will be a raw 4-second exposure. Probably have to take some new darks. I haven't taken darks in over a year.
The telescope is slewing.
Off to Alnitak. You can see the flame 2023 and the Horsehead is barely there. So we have to do another white balance. What happens? Yep, changed a little bit. And let's start the live stack. This is, again, a 4-second exposure. Okay, we got 2 in, 1 out. Horsehead's just barely visible. Horsehead's right there. But I'm going to slowly increase the exposures. Hi, Graham. D-Win-Nar Shot Mail. One of these days I'll remember everybody's name. Let's see, I got a 10 in the stack. Let's go to 8 seconds. Well, satellite's almost right through Alnitak. Doing well, Graham. Well, I guess as well as can be expected. Sky's still waiting for her spinal cord stimulator implant. That'll be on the 12th of next month, so she can't wait to get that done. Oh God, looks like I have a dust bunny. Right next to the Horsehead. The spinal cord stimulator test did work, but the young surgeon that put the test probes in didn't feel confident enough about getting them properly positioned, so he referred it to another spine surgeon who's actually going to do the implant. And that'll occur in about 3 weeks now. Really would like to make Rock Star Party, but We'll just be getting back from the Grand Canyon Star Party on the 16th or so of July, and then we have a bunch of doctor appointments, and then there's no way we could drive up to Rocks from there. Maybe next time. Let's see what happens if I bump it up a little bit longer. I just made a major jump in exposure. Of course, we are live stacking. And you can see how much the histogram jumped. No filter tonight, Matt. Wanted to see what I could get without a filter. I haven't figured out how to get the filter into the that focal reducer. It's not as easy as it was on the Zenithstar 61. This one, I think it's more recessed, so it'll be harder to get in there. Okay, I just did a new white balance. It's threaded to accept it. It's just you need real small fingers to get into it to screw the filter in. Yeah. That's not too bad. Considering I'm aiming in the worst light polluted part of the sky to the south and southwest. But that, I wish Rock would join in. I gotta figure out what is that perfectly round little, that's a strange looking dust bunny. You know, the third star in the belt is right at the top right corner. I could have moved this over a little and gotten the whole belt in. Let's go up, let's go down up to the M78. See if we can get some of Bernard's loop. Let me go down to a 5-second exposure. Stop the live stacking. And then
The telescope is slewing.
I move to where I think I have M78 almost in the center of the field. Let's see. Yep, I do. Let me think this is NGC 2112, the Rush Open Cluster. I'm going to mark that. NGC 2112. Cool. So let me start live stacking. And do another white balance. And it didn't really change. Yeah, the green dropped a little. Okay. I'm going to try to stay on until moonrise. In the bottom right corner is Alnilam. That's the middle star in the belt of Orion. There may be a little distortion around it. Finally found on the William Optics owners group, somebody had in Australia had prepared a document on how to install the focal reducer onto the scope, and he suggested using a digital micrometer to set the spacing, which I did. And then he said if your stars aren't pinpoint, then you can move in 1/10 of a millimeter increments until you get the stars perfect. There's another satellite passing just to the lower right of M78. Yep. So now that I got 20 in the stack, I'm going to increase the exposure. Stop from 5 seconds. Oh, I was at 5. I'm going to go to 15 now. I think I'm seeing some hints of Barnard's loop. Just to the right of that NGC 2112. After this, I'm going to go to the rosette. I guess I'm still here, still broadcasting. That's a nice little cluster there. Yeah, the stars in the corners don't look, this corner doesn't look too bad, the upper left corner. Upper right, not bad for live. They're a little elongated in the lower right. And lower left looks good. And maybe I should apply the right dark. Let's see, where's my darks? Dark. Import, how about a 15-second? Okay, now I got a 15-second dark. Yeah, I definitely have something on the sensor. And I did a twilight flat, but I didn't see that and it didn't take it out. If it wasn't for that little dark spot, everything would be nice. Another satellite went from almost bottom center up to the top left. Okay. How many do I have in the stack here? I got almost 38 in the stack. We'll go to 40. And then I'll move on to rosette. For some reason the colors don't look quite right. 2037, let's see what happens. Okay, let's now stop the long exposure. Let's go back to 5 seconds. Stop the live stack. And let's go to the rosette.
The telescope is slewing.
I gotta turn off the blue lights in this room, that might help too. And maybe if I moved. Same here. And maybe I should have put a filter in. Oh well. I've gotten so spoiled by the monochrome. And the H-alpha filters. Well, it's definitely there. I think the next time I try this, I'll have to definitely put a filter in. So maybe I could reduce the saturation. Let's see. Reduce the saturation to about 80. Let's see. So right now I'm at, I keep forgetting to erase, I'm at 5 seconds right now. It's almost like Hyperstar or Raza speed. Hi, Mad Hatter. You know, 5 second exposure. And I just changed the saturation. Saturation, I'll lower it to 80. Hey, Rusty. Let me try increasing the exposure. This is, for those that can't tell what it is, this is the rosette in 5 seconds. I did a short one this evening, Rusty. After you got off, I went outside. There was a neat, I wanted to call it like a waterfall. It was a prominence, but it was a wide prominence arching up from the surface on the limb, and it almost looked like a waterfall falling off the sun. It was cool. I grabbed some, Matt, this field is slightly larger than the field with the Zenithstar 61 and focal reducer and the 26th. Focal length is a little bit longer, but the chip is much larger. I'm using the Zenithstar DS26 in SkyTools only because I didn't put this scope yet into the SkyTools in my observatory. Yeah, hopefully later on I can look at some of those videos. And the atmosphere wasn't that great, but I did do some grabs. Let me try to bump this exposure up to something longer than 5 seconds. And now I've gone to 15. You can see the histogram really jumped. Yeah, Rock had posted something on the group. He thanked both you and me for doing broadcast today. This is, I guess, where a filter would help out. Go with a little bit higher gain and put the filter in. I'll have to experiment with how to do that tomorrow. Matt, what filter were you using last night? Evening Laza Lamb? Maybe I should put what I'm looking at up in the corner. We had some high winds yesterday. They kind of dropped a little bit today. It's much calmer tonight. So I'm capturing images every 60 seconds. I mean every 30 seconds. I already got 69 images captured. I might try bumping this exposure up to 20 or 25. It'll be interesting to see what I can pull out of these images. Let's see, stop. Let's go up to 20. I'll make it 25. So I started at 5 seconds, went to 15, and now I'm at 25. And you can see I'm pegging the histogram. So let me drop it back down to 20. Thanks, Lazalam. I reduced the resolution for the broadcast. I'm down at 1280 by 720. You zoom in, and then you can clearly see the rosette. You can see some of the dark lanes. I am at 2x2 binning. See, let me change this. I'm back at 20 seconds because 25 was too much. I'm also doing a screen capture video right now. I'm 53 minutes in. I started well before sunset and before I started broadcasting. I guess after this I'll go over to maybe I'll go up to the cone and Christmas tree. See, now it should be completely dark from 8:31. So it's 8:30 now. So now twilight is over. Zoom in. Now it's starting to stand out. And some of the warm pixels are not quite matched to the dark. Don't know what you're talking about, Laza. Stars popping up and disappearing in the foreground. Hi, Jules. See, there's the full field of view. Let me get my hand off the screen. Okay. That's not a bad view for not using a filter. It could be the refreshing of the screen from the zoom. Let me look in the corner now. Yeah, there's something not quite right in the lower corner. I might have to try guiding and see if that will correct anything. No. Let me go move over to the cone and Christmas tree. So I'm going to stop this and go to a 5-second exposure. And mark it as a 5-second exposure. And erase the target and stop the live stacking. Okay. Move the histogram back to the left of the, and then drag the box over to
The telescope is slewing.
okay. Let's see where it is relative to the opening. That's the advantage of having a 91mm scope versus a 16. Where's everything supposed to be? Well, I think the cone is supposed to be up here. Let me start live stacking. And we'll see what happens. I'm in the observatory walking around in socks and my feet are starting to get cold. Man, there's a lot of stars. Evening, Derek. I'm supposed to have, oh yeah, almost right below center is Hubble's Variable Nebula. I'll zoom in and the only ice is in the refrigerator, freezer compartment. There's Hubble's Variable Nebula. It's all in what you're used to, Graham. When you get 80 degrees up there in Canada, you start sweating. And it's called a heat wave. I'm going to go up to 15 seconds now. It was 86 in the observatory, I think day before yesterday when I was out here. So I just jumped up to 15 seconds. Let me move the I'm liking the field of view. When I started looking for a scope, I wanted a scope I could use the 24 on at a faster f ratio than the 16, so I can get this down to f4.7. And this scope has a 3.3 inch focuser. I don't know what that converts to in a metric equivalent. There's it, the cone. Cone isn't really popping out yet. I really need a filter. I mean, the Christmas tree is upside down. I mean, I think it's and that blue nebula at the to the right corner of the base of the tree is really coming out nicely. Let me see where Comet Atlas is. Let's see, current comets. Messier. Current comets. Current comets. Comet Atlas in Gemini is magnitude 10.2. That's not too far from where we'll go there next. Give me a few more increases in exposure on this Laz, and then we'll go over to Comet Atlas. It's C2019L3 Atlas. But let me mark what we're seeing in this field of view. This is Hubble's Variable Nebula. What else do we? And then this is the Conan Christmas tree. So let me mark that. Next to the cone and the Christmas tree, there's a bunch of open clusters. Lots of open clusters. I'll have to take one of these pictures and feed it through astrometry.net so I can capture everything that's in here. Let me do one more increase in exposures, and then we'll go to the comet. Let's see. Stop. I think 20 was the longest I could do before. Go to 20 seconds. Because I think that comet is not too far from the monkey head. Okay, the histogram just jumped. Okay, now the cone is starting to come out. Cone is right there. Again, there's the Christmas tree. And I like to envision the stump or stalk of the Christmas tree right there. Yeah, the cone is starting to pop out now. I think a filter probably would have helped this tonight. Oh. Wow. It's full of stars. Okay, let's go over to the comet. Let's stop and go to 5 seconds. Using a program called Epic Pen. It's showing on the screen there. There's a line tool, there's an arrow tool, a circle tool. Then you can do text, highlighter, freeform. So let me see, I'm down at 5 seconds. Epic Pen? I don't think so. But I haven't updated in a while. So let me stop the live stacking. Live stacking stopped. And then let me let me go to the comet, put the comet up on a chart. Atlas. And let me drag.
The telescope is slewing.
Let's see if I'm still looking through the opening. Yes, I am. All of a sudden, the comet disappeared. Okay, let me move this up a little bit. Comet.
The telescope is slewing.
Oh, here comes a satellite, and there's supposed to be a comet somewhere in here. I see something. Boy, that's it right there. That little... See, I'll put this over on here so you can see. I'm going to grab the arrow tool. And that little fuzz right there is now the text tool. Comet C/2019 L3 Atlas. That's the comet right there. Yeah, I think Epic Pen is by who? It's by Tank Studios Limited. You should be able to see that in the top left corner. So let me erase this and go with the longer exposure, see if we can get a little bit better view of the comet. So, oh, we were at, okay. So now let me go, I was at 5 seconds, I'm going to go to 15 seconds. Now I'm looping 15 seconds. But you can look, that, I mean, there's the comet. Where's the freeform tool? The comet's right in the middle of that circle. It's not that impressive of a comet, Laza. My Lord, look at the stars. You can tell you're in the winter Milky Way. Evening, Ryan and Sunesh and Dadeki. I think that is currently the brightest comet. Yeah, Comet Atlas. That is the brightest comet. What does it say about the comet?
C/2019 L3 Atlas is a comet, located in Gemini. It is magnitude 10.2, the coma is 3.4 arc-minutes in diameter, and should be about 0 degrees long. This comet is 3.3 astronomical units from Earth, and 3.6 astronomical units from the Sun.
So it is relatively far from the Sun, at 3.6 astronomical units. I can try going with a little bit longer exposure. Right now I'm at 15, I can go to 20. So I just jumped to 20 seconds. I really need to take some more darks. The darks are starting to show their age. I took these darks about a year plus ago. I loved Hayataki. That's when I was playing around with Fuji. I forget what the Fuji slide film was, but I have a picture of it hanging on my living room wall. It's starting to show a little bit of a coma now. And according to Sky Tools, the tail is going off in this general direction. So it's, yeah, pretty accurate. 20-second exposure. Let me mark that down. Number of stars is phenomenal. Another satellite coming into. And for those new, this is not a dark nebula or an alien phenomena. It's something on the sensor I have to try to figure out and clean out tomorrow. Something that the flat did not get rid of. We are not alone. I'm going to move over to the monkey head. So let's stop, go down to 5 seconds. Erase, erase. Where's the text tool? 5 seconds. Move the histogram back to the... Okay, and now let's zoom out and let's see, where is... Oh, wait. Oh, that's not the monkey head I was looking at. There was a... Oh, wait. Monkey Head Nebula. Okay, yeah, okay. So I just got to drag the box.
The telescope is slewing.
Okay, now we're slewing to the monkey head. Let's see. I'll finally have to move the dome a little bit. Yeah. Well, there's something there. Maybe I'll just jump in with a longer exposure. Just jump right into 15 seconds. Okay. Hale-Bopp, I also have a nice picture of Hale-Bopp. I took a bunch. They were totally different because Hale-Bopp had two distinct tails, iron and dust, whereas Hyakutake just stretched on forever. So I'm at 15 seconds and I just started the live stack. Glad you could drop by, Rusty. Good broadcast today. I mean, not today. Was it yesterday? Well, yeah, this morning too. Yeah. Got a few guests who showed up. Aardvark and guests. Hey, Woody. Evening, Jim. This is, I'm debuting this new telescope with the 24C Tech. It's not too bad. See, I got 5 in this stack. See if I can orient the. Oh, where's the double nebula? I'm gonna stop the live stack. I want to get the double nebula in the same field of view.
The telescope is slewing.
See if I got them both. Should have a new image coming up shortly. Oh, and right above this is the jellyfish. I don't think I've looked at the jellyfish yet this year. The very bottom, almost center, that's the double nebula west and double nebula east. Those reddish nebulae at the bottom. Start the live stacking. Laza, the big one up top is called the monkey head. It's kind of upside down with the skull pointed down. Yeah, the 24 has a 43.3 millimeter sensor, and the 26 has a 28.3 millimeter sensor. So 15 millimeters. So it's roughly 50% wider. So even with the longer focal length, the field of view is slightly greater with this scope than it is with the Xenostar 61 and a DS26. Evening, Bob Jones. God, the list is 34 people. Yet now that the live stacking is starting, it's starting to fill out a little bit. I don't know if I can do a vertical flip while it's stacking. Let's see what happens. Then it'll be more recognizable if it does flip. Nope. But yeah, good night, Laza. Yeah, this is the I don't see a pinkish nebulosity floating around. Anybody else seeing that? Well, I'm going to bump the exposure up to 20. I see some dark nebula in there. So I'm at 20 seconds now in the live stack. That's always a possibility. Well, after this, I'm going to slide over to, I think that is, oh yeah, that's the Crescent Nebula. Yeah, at the bottom, that's called that's Sharpless. Where's my text tool? Sharpless. Which one's 256 and which one's... And there's Sharpless 254 next to it. Mislabeled that one. They're known as the double nebula. I have a flat applied. There's a slight amount of vignetting, and I didn't take the best of flats. I do have a little bit of coma in the bottom right corner. But the bottom left looks good. Top left looks good. So overall, I'm well pleased with the scope's performance. There's just a little bit of tweaking I got to do. Hey, Brian, glad you could stop by. Well, I'm going to move over to the jellyfish. So let me start by erasing the exposure time, erasing names, and then I'm going to start with a 10-second exposure. Yeah. I'm going to get some questions for the William Optics owners group. I'm going to start with a 10-second exposure. I'm going to stop the live stack, and then I'm going to drag the
telescope is slewing.
I just slewed over to the Jellyfish. And how about, did I start the exposure? How about now starting the exposure? Okay, so you're right between, okay. So the jellyfish is supposed to be in there, right between those two stars. Let me start the live stacking. Yeah, I have to find out about that, Grim. I think they do allows for adjustment. Hopefully the pinkish stuff is not the jellyfish nebula in the center, but Calendar 89. I'm not seeing that on here on this computer screen, so it's got to be an artifact of the broadcast. A big cluster of stars at the top left, top right corner. That's Calendar 89. What else is in the field of view? Let me stop this live stack. I'm going to drag the box.
The telescope is slewing.
Moved it just slightly. And it should put that cluster. There it is. Good. Oh, it's M35 and NGC 2158 at the. Okay, that makes more sense. It's M35 at the top right corner. Let me rotate it a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, you got 2158, which is that small cluster. Here, and that's M35 here. Right there. What else? Let me go with a longer exposure. Let me go now ramp up to 20 seconds. Okay, just ramped up to 20. And let me get ready to move the histogram. Might move over to Auriga after this. Flaming Star, oh yeah, near M38. Yeah, I'll do that next. Go to Flaming Star next. Yeah, the jellyfish is starting to come out better now. One last, I don't know if I can go much. Maybe I'll go to 25. That'll probably peg it against the, that'll probably peg the histogram. Yep, it pegged the histogram. But boy, it is full of stars. Good night, Matt. Glad you could stop by. Oh, good night also, Aaron. Evening, Jeff. I send myself an email to clean the camera sensor. Okay, just sent myself a text. What is M106? It's a galaxy, huh? How small will it look in here? I think, well, the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over by the Flaming Star, and then maybe we can go. Boy, I think I gotta clean my sensor. Oh, maybe I'm hitting the dome. One of those if I got to get the dome out of the way. Well, let me stop this. Yeah, I see that, Woody. That'd be another question. So let me stop this. Second exposure, and let me stop the live stack. Oh God, come on. Okay, live stack. Let me erase the stuff. Okay, let's
The telescope is slewing. The telescope is slewing.
gotta move the dome some more. Let me just jump in with a longer exposure. Okay, the flaming star is at the top right. And NGC 410 is to the lower left of center, right by my dust bunny. And what does IC? Let me get a DSS image. Well, it's not supposed to be there, but it's right in the middle of that IC 410. Oh wait, is that the... Well, I'm going to go to a longer exposure. I'm going to go to 20. I'll go to 25. And maybe too much for not having a filter. Yeah, definitely pegged. Changed it to 23. I'm just texted. That's the flaming star up there. You can see the blues and the reds in it. Let me see where M106 is. I don't even know if that... 106. I did a white balance before and it didn't. Well, let's try it again. White balance. Let's see, it was at 2343. Let's see what happens. It was definitely pink. Unless there's a whole... Yeah, I'm seeing the difference. I just moved the green over a little. Now I got a lot pinker. Except for those stupid dust bunnies I got right in the middle. Let me try lowering the saturation. The next time I'm out, I'll have a filter in. Just raise gamma to 1.2. I don't know if there's that much red in the whole. If you look, the far right and the far left all look normal, but I wonder if there's that much red dust in space in that area between the flaming star and IC410. Anything's possible. No, the dome is not in the way. Oh, yeah, excuse me. It's 35 there, and what is it here? Right now it is 59 here. Well, let's try a galaxy.
The telescope is slewing.
stopped the live stack. I left that run by mistake. Let's see. How about moving the black point on the histogram? I'm aiming into a part of the sky where there's less light pollution. There's M106, Graham. Let's see, I gotta change east to west. Let's see. See if I'm moving it in the right direction. Yeah, I am moving it. Is there another galaxy next to M106? I'm seeing a couple. I should have gone to a shorter exposure so I could center this better. But there's one right in the upper left quadrant. Okay, I might be able to sync on it now.
Telescope position synchronized.
Yeah, there is another galaxy right there. Okay, good. Got it. That little edge on right up. Cool. That's, what is that one called? There's a bunch of galaxies in that field of view. Let me bump up the exposure. Yeah, this is aiming to the northeast, towards the Honey Island Swamp, where there's definitely less light pollution. Okay. So all those galaxies jump in the field of view. What happened just now? Oh, Okay. All of a sudden, something went really bonkers. It was looking good, and then hmm. Let me go back with a shorter exposure. It's when I increased the exposure that it went bonkers. Go to 15 seconds. Good night, Jim. Okay. All of a sudden, things got strange. Let me do another white balance since I'm in a new area of the sky. That helped. My cooler still on? Cooler's still on. Now try to identify all the galaxies in the field. Well, that's M106. Right below it is that one is NGC 4217. The one next to the blob is 4220. What What is that one up at the... That's 4144. There. Forty-three, 46. God, they're all over the place. I think that's enough marking. That was a good suggestion, Graham. Let's see, I wanted to, where am I? Well, I know where I am, I'm just trying to, I zoomed too far out in Sky Tools. I got like, yeah, that was the other area of the sky. I aimed away from it, and so let me see, I should have a camera view.
Telescope position synchronized.
Maybe now it'll give me the right. It's giving me a camera view on some totally different area of the sky.